Afternoon, everyone. I saw this story and I really wanted to share it with you. I'm excited about it. So, although it is not law, a lot of the other stories are the same stories from this morning's video, which is now down. I'm just updating it to make it better and stronger. So sorry for this morning's video's incorrect reporting, and that will be corrected right now. So the Ontario PC Party passes a resolution to not recognize gender identity. Quote, the Ontario PC Party has passed a resolution to no longer recognize gender identity theory, sources tell Global News. The vote happened Saturday morning during the party's 3-day convention in Toronto. The resolution says gender identity theory is, quote, highly controversial, unscientific, liberal ideology, and as such, that an Ontario PC government will remove the teaching and promotion of gender identity theory from Ontario schools and its curriculum. The vote was adopted as a party policy and is non-binding government policy. So the policy named Resolution R4 was proposed by Tanya Granick-Allen, a former PC candidate in the June general election, who was ousted following what the Ontario Liberals called homophobic comments in 2014 video. All right, so that doesn't necessarily mean it's law right now, but that's in the pipe. So, and as a parent, I'm happy for that. That makes me happy. So here is a People's Party announcement, and I missed this. I can't believe I missed this. It was a few days ago, November 15th. They said, 1, we are pleased to announce that Elections Canada today gave us the green light and recognized our party as eligible for registration. This is the first of 2 steps before we are officially registered. 2, according to the law, the party will only be finally registered and will then be allowed to issue tax receipts for donations when it runs a candidate under its banner in a coming by-election. So if Trudeau calls a by-election anytime, then the People's Party can run the candidate, and that will finalize their status as a party and then allow them to give receipts. It's kind of unfortunate that we have to wait that long. Like, we have to wait until a by-election is called and Bernier has a candidate. But we're on the way. Things are happening. Things are certainly happening. At the rally on Wednesday, Maxime Bernier and the supporters and boosters and people introduced Nicola, and Nicola is the person who helps set up EDAs. So if you are thinking of setting up an EDA, please email Nicola. You can reach her at her Twitter, I suppose, and I guess the email takes you to the People's Party of Canada. But this is the person that you want to talk to about setting up an EDA. So she says, all the people who keep telling us it's impossible and you will split the vote better make a better argument fast. We have the right message at the right time and all the momentum. And this was her tweeting out at the rally. And I would agree with her. Generally. Maxime Bernier says, watch the recording of the GTA PPC Rally, and then again in French, and then the link is here if you want to watch the whole thing. If you do, make sure you listen carefully. I was not listening carefully enough this morning and reported silly things, so I'm glad I was corrected. Thank you for correcting me, and I'm correcting my error. So we'll listen to about a minute and a half of Mr. Bernier's speech, and then we'll move on to the next story.
I did a couple of interviews with journalists, and I had the same kind of answer. You know, I was answering the questions, but after that they were telling me, Maxime, it took 3 years for Preston Manning to build the Reform Party of Canada. We don't believe you that you will be able to do that in a year. You won't be ready for the election. The plane won't take off, so it will go nowhere. And tonight, you are the proof that this party is going somewhere for a better Canada. Now the Liberals are the new left. The Conservatives are moving to the center. And the People's Party of Canada, we are the only right. And we are the only principal alternative.
Right is right.
Right is right.
You are right. Yes.
I think that Trudeau is a weak leader, but Scheer also. Scheer is a weak leader, and let's look at the facts. Despite Trudeau's disastrous record, despite the Indian trip, despite the huge deficit, despite the attacks on small businesses, despite the carbon tax, despite illegal migrants crisis, despite all of this, Trudeau is still ahead in the poll. So Scheer has been behind Justin Trudeau for the last year. We are the only true conservative alternative to that government. If we want our principle to win the battle of ideas, we need to defend them openly, with passion, and with conviction. And that.
So I'm going to leave him there. There's a lot more to the rally. I thought it was very well done. And upon re-listening, clearly, it's very clear what he said. So the interviews at the rally as well, this is True North News, were well done and well worth a listen to. There were some comments this morning saying that he needs to hire a speechwriter and to refresh his talking points in his stump speech. I would agree, but I think he's rolling it out across Canada, and he's doing the same speech to multiple crowds, and I agree with you fundamentally. He is the one talking about how they are using social media and propagating their message. And so everybody in Canada who is interested, most of them have seen the talking points. We all know. And yeah, they could use a little refresh. I would generally agree with you. So all of that said, I still think there's going to be a good turnout in Quebec. And there was certainly interest from Montreal to have him stop by there, and I think he's going to Gatineau or something to that effect. There was two dates in Quebec, and neither was Montreal, so that was interesting to me as well. But I think the engagement, the amount that he's available is very good, especially when you compare to Scheer. I mean, Miss Rempel, I'm still blocked from Michelle Rempel. She hasn't answered any of my questions. I've called offices. Now, to be fair, I've called Max's office and he hasn't got back to me yet. So it's not just those people who are very busy people. And I understand they all have jobs to do. They're all campaigning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I understand it. But there's something happening here. Oh, hold on. The other story I spoke about in my morning video was the House Conservatives protest LGBT protection in Mexico-Canada trade deal. So this is reported by Politico, and it says House Conservatives protest LGBT protection in Mexico-Canada trade deal. This is the USMCA, the one that doesn't solve the steel or aluminum problem that is seriously affecting a lot of people in Canada, and really was we lost quite a lot in the negotiation, especially access to dairy. For basically, we gave away the access to dairy, and we didn't talk about steel in the USMCA because Justin Trudeau and Ms. Freeland kicked the can down the road so much and tried to get this language, this stuff right here, into the USMCA. And they kept saying no, and they kept saying no, and they kept saying no. And they were saying no, not because they didn't personally want it or they think that it's wrong. They may have. But I think they were probably saying no because they knew this would happen. And what happened? So here it is, quote, they're displeased that the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement contains requirements that workers be protected from discrimination on the basis of sex, including sexual orientation and gender identity. Quote, a trade agreement is no place for the adoption of social policy, reads the letter, which carries the names of 40 lawmakers and was sent Friday. Quote, it is especially inappropriate and insulting to our sovereignty to needlessly submit to social policies which the United States Congress has so far explicitly refused to accept. And I skipped down a bit. One congressman who led the effort on the letter said the issue could be a, quote, deal killer for him for supporting the pact. Quote, this is language that is going to cause a lot of people to reconsider their support for the trade agreement, and to the point that it may endanger the passage of the trade agreement unless something is done. Republican Doug Lamborn told the Politico in an interview. Adjusting the deal is a tall order. The countries are expected to sign the agreement on November 30th at a G20 summit in Argentina, the day before the current Mexico administration leaves office. So all summer, they were trying to shoehorn this language in. That was one of the main sticking points. They get the language in, hidden somewhere in this giant agreement. It's a mammoth, agreement. And now Congress is saying, nope, don't think so, strike it, or you're not welcome to sign. Because part of the deal is that if the United States and Mexico, or Canada and the United States, don't like part of it, they can break off to have their own bilateral deal within 6 months. So, I mean, between that and the border crisis and the migration pact being signed on December 10th, 11th, I can't remember where, but the UN Pact on Migration being signed by Canada on the 10th, terrible. All of that combining, not good for Canada. Okay, so Max, we'll finish it off, says, some people keep asking why I attack Scheer as much as Trudeau. They say I should only focus on Trudeau. It's quite simple. I don't want the Conservatives to replace the Liberals. I want the People's Party of Canada to replace the Liberals. We must defeat both wings of the Liberal Conservatives. And I think in my other video, I made a better case for this tweet, but I'll leave it here anyway. And have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow.